This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Saints Pod. My name is Greg, and as always, today joined by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zach. Mate, how you feeling after a game with, although probably a fair result, probably one that the only people happy with are Hampshire Constabulary, right? It's not.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're more accurate than not, mate, right? That's probably... Yeah, I mean, it wasn't quite the 5-0 demolition that you'd hoped for, although if Armour had actually bothered to put away his chances, it could have. And on top of that, it wasn't the 0-0 either, right? As simple as that. It sure was a derby. I'm glad that there wasn't VAR to really ruin it. It was scrappy. It was more enjoyable to watch than.
I mean, the referee lost his whistle, didn't he? That was he just forgot how to blow it for most of the
game. We got our
obligatory not slide. I mean, to be clear, in both directions, he was just quite happy to let the players kick each other and crack on.
We got the obligatory, Flynn Downs yellow card, even though it was probably a bit more dramatic this time round, right?
I mean, that was probably one of the more entertaining parts, right? I mean, to be fair, he was late and he absolutely clattered him. And, I mean, no complaints. No notes. Good stuff. 10 out of 10.
Very, I think, because of how anticlimactic the first one was, we've kind of come into this one not having I like the build up to this one. I think we even spoke about it in the preview, right? Just hasn't felt the same. I don't know if that's just us. But it doesn't seem to have had the same level of buzz. And then kind of the result was fair. We're a team out of form. We picked up a win just about. They're a team that are in form. We're not half as good as we think we are and half as good as we used to be. They're slightly better than they used to be when we were playing them, when they were in League One and stuff. So, it's like a fair result.
It played out exactly like a game, I would argue, Zach, of 15th versus 17th.
Yeah, you're right. It's and the things that if I wanted to sum it up, we should have taken our chances. I think we say basically every week, if Armour had put them away, we'd have won the game. I think we also say every single week we can't defend from set pieces, and apparently no matter what they do to teach them, we just can't. And that's the thing we say every week. The only real big difference was the opposition, right? Like that. That's basically it.
Well, before we end up with our obligatory weekly episode of the Praise Leo show, let's go all the way back to the start. And 10:45 this morning, ridiculously, just what everyone's expecting that early on a Sunday morning. Team sheets for the derby. I mean, the poor fans from our side who had already been at Fratton Park for 2 hours at that point. Just an absolute joke.
Yeah, you're right. It is. Again, I can understand the policing side of it. I can understand a lot of things.
It's too heavy-handed in it. Just silly.
Yeah, but they'll argue that it was successful with no trouble brewed, right? And that's the problem, is that means they'll do it again. It just depends. I don't know, and from a fan base to fan base, sort of considering the level of hostility, do you think they're genuinely going to go well, next year we just won't bother? I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just they can't be trusted. But yeah, it's ridiculous. But we did get a really early team sheet, and it wasn't probably what everybody expected, right? I feel a little bit vindicated by the fact that I kind of predicted James Bree might be back in, and because of the fact he's a bruiser. And I don't know how much I trusted myself on that, but he was back in. And I'm not going to lie, the man put in a shift today. Considering he's our cheapest player probably out of all of them there, bar maybe Stevens, because we've had Stevens for so long. He put a shift in. Because it doesn't help as well that you had Nathan Jones coming out and stirring the pot in the week. So I was kind of surprised to see him starting. But yeah, he was solid. Don't really know how
he's been a Saints player for long enough. He knows the crack. He's not.
That's
he's
what I said.
Experienced player. He was solid. And you're right. He was got that more physical edge to him than Yellett brings to the table. And I have no problems with it. I've always liked Bree.
And
I
also,
always thought it was a
he got
shame
to
that
do
we
in
let
90
him go out.
minutes. They got to have a right back play 90 minutes for like the first time in what feels like forever. Obviously, Jack Stevens and Taylor Harbour-Bellis. Some people kind of saying that I preferred Quasi. I'm kind of like, he's our club captain. I know that we're not like the biggest Jack Stevens fans, but it makes sense to me that we have our club captain for the biggest game of the year. Like,
he stepped up to the plate in a big way today. I thought he was excellent, to be honest.
It shows he's capable of it. It's what's frustrating.
If he didn't make that excellent tackle from a mess we'd made of a set piece in the first half, I think there's a pretty good chance that Connor Chaplin puts Portsmouth 1-0 up, and then this is a completely different episode, right? And that wasn't the only. That was just the big example that jumps out. But I think that and in fact, as a back line in general, from open play, very, very convincing, very solid. I mean, it speaks volumes that Pompey didn't really have a clear-cut chance. Not like we did. Not like we should have been, 3-1 up. They were in the box more and they put the pressure on more, but we dealt with it. Their only chances literally came from our inability to clear set pieces, which is, copy and paste from every episode for the last 2 years. I don't know. But defensively, as a defensive line as a 4 in open play where it's that shape that matters, I thought defensively we were very good.
Yeah, I agree. It's annoying that we can't see it all year round. But even then, we still were unable to not concede, right? And that's the frustrating thing. But then that's never going to change. It feels like at this point.
We haven't.
I don't know what we can do to sort the set piece thing.
We haven't kept a clean sheet away from home, Zach, this entire season.
Yeah,
including in the game away to a team at the bottom of the league below us.
Yeah, no. When you put it like that, it's just then we should expect it, and that's why it was important that we see it out and actually, see it off. And I think that's for me the biggest disappointment is like it's a fair result at the end of the day, but it's like for the love of God, Armour, anywhere. Well, your exact text to me was anywhere but there. In bold capital letters, which you have sent me the exact same text before.
Literally any part of the goal where the keeper isn't exactly stood, right? And it's in. What was most frustrating about that chance in particular when he got through 1-on-1 is it was almost like frame for frame, like 2 goals he scored earlier in the season where he chipped it into the far corner both of those times. Like it's literally just because it's been 6-7 games since he scored now, and
he's still the top goal scorer. That's insane.
Clearly, the confidence is not as high as it was then, but literally like frame for frame, like he's got himself into that position earlier in the season and just dinked it over the keeper into the far corner, and just hit it straight at the keeper this time. And the volley, I mean. It was on. He did well to get power on that and keep it on target. It kind of his way is when you're in that position, you're kicking it and hoping it goes at the goal, and it did at least go out the goal with pace. And the keeper made a good save. I think that's the more forgivable of the two. But yeah, we should have been well up and away at that point, and that's part of the problem. That's the same, right? If we could defend set pieces and put away our chances, we'd be top of the league. So,
yeah, it's the occasion as well is big. I think, and it was also not the same team it's been recently. It was probably a bit unsettled. A couple of changes we still haven't really discussed. So Wellington in for Manning, who didn't get to play a part of this. I expected him maybe to come on later, but obviously not.
we talked about before the show, right, about how you'd probably expect Manning, who's been trusted the rest of the season, ahead of Wellington to come in. But I think again, Wellington was didn't put foot wrong. Right. Not very few complaints about him. A couple of times he got caught slightly out of position, but I mean, week in, week out, we said that about Manning. So, but he looked solid. He also wasn't afraid to get involved in the physical part of the game.
I think that might be one of the reasons why, if I'm totally honest.
I mean, let's be honest. If the referee wasn't being as lenient as he was being. It could have been 7 yellow cards apiece, right? Like it was a tough, bitty, physical game.
You're right.
It was
3
great.
yellow cards is significantly less than the 20 odd fouls that took place and weren't booked. So,
but it was consistent, so you don't mind it, right? Like if he's consistently happy to let that go across the pitch, it's a strange decision that in the derby of all games you would decide to add that bit of bite. But I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. It was good. And then I guess keeping with the changes, we were both a bit surprised to see Azaz still in.
Yeah, that was. I mean, arguably set up Cienza, so I guess you can take that. But it's not. I just think you're right, and we've discussed it before. And I don't want to be too critical because it is weird how we kind of pick on him. But I think it's because we've seen what he's able to do. We saw what he was able to do at Middlesbrough, and then he didn't bring it to the team for ages. And then he went on this run of scoring every other bloody game. And then now he's sort of in a position where he's just not able to do that and not really providing a lot. Like he made a crunching tackle. I'm pretty sure you texted me and said that's the best thing he's done all game. Obviously, later on went to assist.
I actually said it was the best thing he'd done all week in weeks. But yeah, I think ironically, the thing that annoys me about Azaz is actually the thing that he does was the reason he was there to assist Leo, because instead of picking up the ball and driving into space, which is, specifically what I would like to see from our number 10, he is much more inclined to slow down and try and pick out a pass, which is fine, except he, more often than not, tries the pass that's just one step too complicated and tries something that nobody else is on the same wavelength on, or just slightly misplaces it and then it rolls through to the goalkeeper. But because as soon as he picks up the ball, his first thought is, who am I putting in here? That is his biggest problem so far, because that's not always an option going forward with us at the moment. And that's also why he saw the run that Leo made and set him up for that magnificent goal. So it's kind of, it is what it is, I suppose. I don't see anyone else. I don't see any other player in our team releasing the ball and seeing that, having a good enough vision of the pitch that quickly to make that pass to Leo. So it's hard to criticise the times where it goes wrong when the time where it went right was so important.
That's a fair assessment, to be perfectly honest. I don't really have any counter or disagreements with you there. I think it's just we'd like to see it more consistent, right? We'd like to be able to see him do more consistently,
and maybe that's not entirely on him. If the problem is that he's always looking for that pass and that pass isn't on, then that's as much on potentially the players around him as him. But it's a balance that, when it works, it was working fantastic with him and Armour, right? Like for that period of games, it was just flying. But unfortunately, when it doesn't, it looks not as impressive, right? Whereas Leo would never be making the pass that put Leo in, right? Because Leo picks up the ball and his first thought is, I'm going to run at this player with the ball, and I'm either going to get past him or win a foul because he's going to kick me. And I'm not stopping until one of those things happen. And Fellows, in a similar way, he's quite happy to take the ball to feet with his back to the opposition. His thought is normally, can I turn this player or do I need to bring it inside? And then he will generally try and use his pace going inside and look for a cross-field ball, and that is successful in its own way. But because of that, neither of those things are what Azaz is trying to pass to and making that run, apart from, just Leo with a bit of brilliance today coming up and arguably making the run and the composure of the finish. That's exactly where Adam Armstrong should have been and what he should have been doing, right?
Well, you said it, mate, and I'm sure a lot of people thought it. And, it's one of those. And also, I think, Leo was very happy to play up to the occasion. Enjoyed cupping his ears, throwing himself around, having a great time. Like for him, it seemed like the game he was perfectly happy for. And for Armour, he just seemed a bit more stoic about it all.
Leo is a man who clearly, in the way that he carries himself on and off the pitch, he loves football, right? You can't dispute that. Like, he absolutely loves football and loves the occasion of football. Clearly loves it here. Whether that's a long-term prospect or not, I guess to be decided. But because of loving football and loving it here, this is the perfect opportunity for him. And if you don't think the second he gets through on goal, he's thinking, "Oh, this is a tifo." Like, that's and fair play. Like, what a finish as well. Just composed, waited for the right moment to slot it through. Just an absolutely wonderful goal, wonderful run. Like, so clearly onside, found the space, and you just knew as soon as he was in. Even at the halfway line with one defender chasing back to him, as soon as he was in that space, I'm like, no one's getting to him here. Like, that's it. And just fantastic. What a moment.
Wish we could have gone on and win it to cement that in history, right? Instead, it's going to be, that was one of the ones we drew in that season where we drew both of them. And that's I think, one of the frustrating things about it. Matsky, Matsuki, what do we think? That was a bit of a weird one. That is the thing that threw me off the most. Because, right, I was about to say, speaking of fellows, but to be honest, I'll let you just go because your points were really, really valid and very, very good. But that was probably like the biggest surprise for me. And obviously, there's no denying I'm a big fan of the guy. But I was very surprised to see him be put into that position, trusted with that level of responsibility and dealing with that level of physicality in his second league start of the game. And looking at Tonda's Ixusa, he's played some big games in Turkey, and you're like, yeah, but he did okay. I think that it's part of the game plan of having Brian and not having fellows there meant that it seemed like it was haha, bet you didn't expect that. And that was right. They didn't expect that. They probably planned for fellows the whole game, but also fellows came on and it wasn't like he, managed to score or assist or anything. So how do you feel? Was it good? Was it a good game? Was it wasted?
Yeah, I mean, he was alright. He put himself about plenty. He always just seemed to be half a yard or half a touch away from the perfect position. He never quite seemed to, but that was true of a lot of the team in the first half.
Yeah, but that's the occasion, right? So the first half was very, very scrappy, but again, it was significantly more entertaining than the entirety of the game beforehand. But as in the 0-0, right?
Yeah, but he got himself stuck in and did what he could, and there are a couple of chances I wish that he just shot, and he didn't, which is a bit disappointing because that's what he's supposedly sort of famed for. I think what you say about who they were preparing for and sort of throwing them off is one part of the equation, but I think that we've talked about fellows and managing his minutes, and he clearly tires after a certain period of the game. And I think that maybe Tonda just listens to the show, because our biggest criticism was why take Tom Fellows, our best crosser of the ball, off and put Ross Stewart on. And he's thinking, you know what, you're right. But neither of them quite have 60 minutes in them today, so let's do it at the end instead and put the player that can cross the ball the best onto the pitch with the player who can get on the end of crosses and see if they can work some magic between them. And I don't hate it.
It's a shame that after they scored, it very much became sort of us trying to keep the ball out and make sure it remained 1-1. And this is where,
this is frustrating, actually. There was such a lack of urgency. I don't know if it was...
Greg, this is the same conversation we have every week.
We're never good in the second half.
Well, not only that, it's the same conversation where we concede in the second half the way we have, and then for some reason we're on the back foot. And it's even that West Brom game, right? It's thank goodness we got that over the line. The problem is that we scored in the second half. Let's not forget that. But then it's just once they equalised, the big occasion. Do we want to argue? We've already kind of alluded to it previously about whether or not it's a handball, whatever. It was given at this point.
I think if anything, it comes more off of his chest anyway, to be honest. I'm not even entirely convinced that VAR overturns it. There was absolutely no shout for it from any of our team or the goalkeeper. And for me...
That's a big indicator, isn't it?
That's the number one giveaway, right? Because, a lot of the time, I've I've seen referees say, if I'm not sure if it's gone out for a goal kick or a corner, I wait for a second and see which way the players move because they instinctively know, right? So, and it's the same thing. If there's no shouts for it whatsoever, like, it kind of is what it is. And I mean, to be honest, we should have done a better job of clearing the ball away in the first place and not have been in that situation.
And at that point,
so,
if Armour had buried his chances first half, we would be technically 3-0 up at that point. It shouldn't have been an issue. And it's why I don't really feel, and I feel like it was a fair result in a game that was a big derby, but I think you've summed it up perfectly, Greg, by being like, it's 15th playing out against like a 17th team with, or 20th or whatever they're at now. It's a lower half scrap, right? It's a lower half scrap and a lower half
and it is incredibly frustrating. Let's not move past it. Like it objectively, trying to take a step back and view it, it's probably a fair result. But from our perspective, it's incredibly frustrating to have not put them away and put away those chances and done it. But at the same time, as much as that frustration is hitting me, there's a huge sense of relief because part of me before the game thought, we're just going to bottle this. Like, the heads, like the mental strength of the team just isn't up for the occasion. And do you know what? They proved to me that they were up for the occasion. They didn't put it away and win, but they got physically stuck in. They didn't back down. And I mean, what doesn't fire you up more than an entire team brawl? Like, honestly, it's just... we've talked about it before, how, to be fair, the commentators at no point today said, whoa, this isn't what you want to see in football. They kind of rubbed their hands together and went, yeah, that's derby day for you, like, happy days. But, the team fought together, and I spoke briefly in the preview about, like, not coming over to the fans as a unit together or showing togetherness, and very notably today, they did. They stood as a unit together and thanked the fans, and they put it in, and it's, I don't know, it's such a strange blend of like frustration, but it could have been worse, and
frustration.
At least we put a performance in and didn't embarrass ourselves. And I mean, 4 points from those 3 games, really, it's not. It could have been a lot worse, right?
It could have been the 2 games prior where we lost, right? Both games. And like in the wider context of the league, it doesn't make a huge bit of difference. But, for both teams where we sit, take away the money, take away this and the other, like a draw and a draw between the 2 teams where they are on form, where we are mentally, where the club is at, kind of like, okay. Like, it is what it is. It could have been worse, could have been a lot better. And again, the fact that we have just ended up repeating the same points we repeat most episodes, the only difference is it was against Pompey this time. Is telling of where we are. And it's interesting to see what it will do for Tonda. I'm seeing a little bit more, sort of support for him, and that he showed, kind of a bit more gumption today, and sort of mugging Mousinho off, and on top of that, you've got the people that are like, "Oh, Tonda out, we didn't win them," and this and the other, and it will be interesting to see when we next play what the atmosphere and what the vibe is, right? Because I feel like no one's fuming. No one's,
We got quite a long break until our next home game specifically, right? Like, we got a couple of away games on the trot now, I think. And is there another international break or something? No, they can't. No, there's an FA Cup, right? Is our next game at home the FA Cup?
No, I don't genuinely remember. The next game we're playing is
so we got Stoke away, and then we are away. And then we got Watford at home. So, like, that's a couple of weeks away. It's, there's lots to happen, right? There's a whole transfer window to wrap up and finish and close between now and our next home game. So it's...
We have, at least we'll have stuff to talk to on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me. It's just the outcome that no one really wanted, right? but also I guess it's better than it being a loss. And again, like I feel like Portsmouth fans are really proud of the points they've gained from over the 2 games, which is like, considering the dire straits we're in, probably like fair enough. And for us, it's kind of frustrating we didn't batter them both times. And I think that's probably where the prevailing feeling lies across the board, right? I just don't know what this does, if it actually means anything, right? Because when we were talking about like, oh, this is so important for Will Still, and now it was like, oh, this is so important for Tonda, where they didn't win it or really lose it, it kind of just like almost removes the chess piece from the board.
Yeah, just
right? Kind of like now it
just kind of fizzles into
what we were talking about before.
Nothing burger, right? Like it didn't make the situation worse because we didn't embarrass ourselves and we put a solid performance in, and although the lineup was bold, I would say it was a back four which everyone has been calling for all the time, and
especially when it should be on the attack.
The players that you kind of pull a face at when you read on the team sheet put in enough of a performance to justify their selection. Like it doesn't, in hindsight, it doesn't look crazy because it kind of played out, and and it's not like the emphatic relief of an absolute demolishing and one for the history books. So you're right, it's just kind of
do you know what would have been good though? Like a last minute Ryan Fraser winner. That definitely didn't take place at his new club in Australia.
What nearly happened was a last-minute Taylor Harwood-Bellis winner as he nearly buried it in our own net. So
there you go, swings and roundabouts. But no,
it could have been worse, right? That's the biggest frustration point I think for me, is that actually. I went to Quackers in Southampton and took advantage of their £1 beer if you buy a burger deal, and watched the game there. And as soon as it went up as 6 minutes stoppage time, the place cheered and erupted like, yeah, here we go. And then for that entire 6 minutes, we were just on the back foot. And it's like, well, this is not the way it should be going. And that is frustrating, and that is something that we need to work on. But we know that, and it just kind of... And Ross Stewart needs to learn how to put his shorts on the right way around. We can't go the whole episode without mentioning that, can we?
Oh, man. What do you say to that? couple like £1,000 a week can't dress themselves properly in a hurry. It's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? Though, like, we're at the end of this episode. You can tell that the energy of both of us is just like, on to the next game, I guess. And I kind of like, it's both good and bad. We don't get to pop off and be mad and feel cathartic about being about a loss. We also don't get the absolute highs and joys of the South Coast Derby. And now again, it'll be one of the history books where we're like, oh yeah, that was one of the draws, right? The ones that no one really talks about, unless it is like a last gasp winner. And because both of the goals happened within 20 minutes of each other and they weren't in the last minute, and the extra time kind of just felt like it was a bit of a waste. Like it is what it is. And I guess rolling on to the next game. But part of, I think both of us, I'm lucky we didn't do a super big amount of build up, because we did that for the first one and it fell flat. So we kind of took a step back with this game. And I'm kind of glad we did, because it ended up being, the one thing we can say is at least there was a goal. And it's a goal from the guy who will be remembered this season for putting a shift in. I guess now it's just going to be back to normality, back to hoping we win every game and being frustrated when we don't, and the season will end and we'll be in the middle of the championship, and that's going to be our fate for the next.
And I'll tell you what, mate, nothing quite personifies the unenthusiastic fizzle of the result quite like our next game, which is an away trip to Stoke. So,
oh, mate! Well, I think that's all, folks, for the wonderful South Coast Derby. Super big fixture, multiple news articles about why it's so important.
I'll tell you what, though, mate. I'll tell you one good thing that does come out of today from it. Really, we probably get to do it again next year.
Genuinely watched a back and forth between two fans, Portsmouth and Saints fans on Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. And it was really nice because it was proper like fiery. Then it got to the bottom. It's like, wow, it's nice to have this back, though, isn't it? just like two complete like personality switches from like, oh well, you were this anyway. Oh, you're proud of yourself because your 500 billion pound squad could beat us this the other. And it's like, oh, at least we get to enjoy this again. It was just such a weird tonal shift that just threw me out of reality for a minute.
Right. We all love it. It's what football's all about.
We do.
But you're right, look, that is all that we have got time for today. Thank you so much, Zach, for joining me.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. As Zach alluded to earlier, tomorrow is Transfer Tuesday, where we will find some transfer news to talk about.
Let's hope that we actually get linked with a player. That'd be nice.
But before then, look, let us know in the comments on the socials. How are you feeling after today's game? Are you pleased with the performance? Are you angry that we didn't put it away? How are you feeling? Let us know. We'll have a big group therapy session about it. We love hearing from you. We are Daily Saints Pod everywhere on all the socials: TikTok, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If you've enjoyed listening to us today, give us a like, give us a subscribe. It really goes a long way to help us out as a newly independent podcast. The more you click those buttons, the more it boosts us and gives us a hand. But until tomorrow, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you then.
This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.